Hello, everyone. Oh, that's louder than I thought it would be. Selfies even before the event has started. That's so typically Daniel. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, actually I'm going to say it's not ladies and gentlemen, it's friends and family, if I may say, because that really does feel like it. So, introductions. So, some of you may know, my name is Jan Kellett. I work for UNDP and I lead our global practice on insurance and risk financing. And it's a great pleasure to be here today to celebrate one of our amazing projects that we have within what's called the Tripartite Agreement, and that is for Nigeria. Just want to share just a few words, if you like, about what the Tripartite Agreement means to UNDP. I think one of the first things to say about it is rather unique. Really is rather unique in that it comes together at significant scale, both globally and especially at the country level, to build the financial resilience of communities and countries at risk of climate change. So, you know, right front and center about what we're talking about, and what we're talking about even more, and we should do more, adaptation and resilience, it's right here. And Nigeria, as a country, we're facing significant risks. It's great that this is the project. I'm not going to speak too much more before I hand over to Ekosue, my fantastic counterpart at the IDF, except to say that one thing I would say is that this has been a significant journey. The Nigeria project actually has taken about 2 years to get here since the first conversations. And it has been on its sort of ups and downs and so on. Part of the journey, I think, is in some way indicates the growing partnership between the private sector, the public sector and government, as we have actually used Nigeria and a few other countries to test our relationships out over time. And we have, I can tell you, we have worked very significantly hard behind the scenes, quite often not seen by others, to actually make sure that we could deliver what we are doing today, which is to commemorate a project which is going to protect the lives of hundreds of thousands of people in Lagos State. So really is a great pleasure. Without more ado, what I'd like to do is now hand over to Ekosue Ian, Secretary General of the Insurance Development Forum, and apologize we didn't have a chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Jan. You paused for a second there. You know, I was like, oh, okay. No, but I just wanted to say welcome everyone to this event. I would say as a Nigerian as well, this brings me tremendous pleasure to be able to have this ceremony now and the significance of this, right? We know what is happening right now in the country. 1.3 million people who are affected by floods, the devastation associated with that. But that's not new. We also know what happens in Lagos when you have floods, right? So for me personally, but I also believe for the IDF and the institutions that are represented in here, this is an especially important project, given its significance in terms of its complexity, but also its relevance when you think about the people that are affected at the end of the day. So I want to thank our partners who have been involved in making this a reality. The government of Lagos State for the trust in the institutions to be able to work with you on a very complex challenge. Obviously, our partners, UNDP, who have also been tremendous in having and helping us to have better conversations with governments around risk, the importance of insurance, and how do we leverage that to help to build resilience. To the many companies who have been involved in doing the technical work, learning from public and private deployment of their skills to address the challenge, but also the German government, who I have to say have been leaders in this space, right? In taking on the challenge and saying, yes, let us find proactive ways that we can leverage private sector working with the public sector to address what is an urgent problem. And all of us are right here in Egypt right now because of the climate change conference and the urgency around this exercise. So this project represents a tangible expression of implementation, right? With impact, potential impact for millions of people around the world. And it's not only in Nigeria, it's what can we learn from Nigeria that can be exported elsewhere. So I've also taken the liberty, but before I get there, I want to also acknowledge Leslie from ARC, because that's also a pioneering institution on the African continent in terms of how do we deal with this at a continental level and build the systems that are necessary. So I want to thank everybody, many friends, Ensure Resilience and others that are here, and just say thank you for this journey. And I see this signing as the start. As I said to Leslie, it's nice to have the signing, but we get to implementation. And that's where you're tested, right? Is implementation at the end of the day. So thank you for that trust, that confidence, partnership. It will be tested over the next few years, but hopefully the results can be very positive. And I'll just say I have added another speaker to the list. I've asked the commissioner to also take some time. Hopefully we can agree. I exercise my right as SG.
Obviously, you can't say anything against that. So.
Exactly. To offer his reflections, because I had the benefit of sitting in an event yesterday when he shared his thoughts from Lagos as someone who's working in the public sector and what it means to deal with these kinds of scenarios. So thank you, everyone, for that.
Thank you, Ektasway. And I thought we had the commissioner speaking anyway. It certainly was in my mind. So, but thank you anyway for reminding us. So what I'd like to do now is hand over to Martin Kipping of BMZ. Oh, you want to have the commissioner now? Martin, that makes excellent sense. So, Commissioner, if I may ask you to say whatever words you wish about the project and Lagos State, please. It is yours.
Maybe I should stand. I would say thank you to everyone. This is evident that if we stick to it and if we believe in it, we can work it out. Lagos has always felt it must carry the African burden as a subnational that must show the way and to show that it is possible. We've tried to run a disciplined government, subjected ourselves to international rating, believed in the power of collaboration and of partnership, and except the partners come together, you can't do the impossible. Today, we see that the obstacles can be removed if the people are willing to roll their sleeves and to work. On our part, we've built a climate adaptation and resilience plan. We've brought out projects out of that can support our resilience as a state. We invite the African continent and subnationals to come join us so that we can build a resilient Africa. Right, and it is true that we have indeed partners that if they see what we have done, they will indeed come together and join us to build that resilience. We invite on behalf of Africa and on behalf of Lagos that investors come and look more closely at what we have done and what we are creating, and not to be afraid, because in Africa, magic is possible. In Africa, great work and great outcome is possible if we all choose to work together. This is evidence to that. And like my friend would say, this is the end of the beginning. The work is about to start, and you need resilience of mind, mental resilience, capacity, determination that we see through this to landing. Thank you very much, and congratulations to all of us.
Thank you, Honourable Commissioner. Very wise and telling words, and thank you for it. I'm now going to hand over to Martin Kipping from BMZ, but maybe just before you start, Martin, I think there is one thing to say, following on from what Ekuse said. I think when BMZ invested in the Tripartite Agreement, you took somewhat of a risk, to use the word in all of its senses that we're here today, because there is nothing that quite exists out there in the community which brings together at scale the public and private sector. Now, our early estimations, I would say there's some caveats there, our early estimations is for the first 20 countries, because we do want to expand, as you know, we could have financial coverage for up to 80 million people, which is really substantial. And that's from the full collection of countries. So kudos to you, Martin, for being able to do this with the rest of your team and bring it to the table.
Thanks. So thanks colleagues. Thanks also for having me here. So it's difficult to add something interesting after all your speeches, so it can be very short. But I would be pleased just to share how much the German government is honored and pleased to support that effort, that collaboration, right? And Commissioner, you've said, Jan, you've said we're taking some risks, but honestly, these risks are nothing compared to the risks poor and vulnerable people have to take from climate change. So a worthwhile effort in which we firmly believe, and really pleased to hear that this is bearing fruit, right? And pleased to have this strong collaboration. I believe it's also a good example on how we can, and actually we should, get all hands on deck for tackling the big challenge of losses and damages from climate change, right? It's a highly ambitious undertaking to find workable, effective, and also efficient solutions for tackling this huge tragedy people are facing from climate change, right? So we need all hands on deck, right? And this is an example where we have many capable hands on deck, right? Starting with the subnational government, right? Then we have the multilateral agency that has a lot of experience, capacities in supporting governments and creating the enabling environment, making connections, right? And obviously the expertise, the deep knowledge and the financial firepower of the private sector, right? So if this all comes together, that can really make, and I'm sure it will make, a huge impact in your case, right? So let me just add one element to broaden a little bit the perspective. That's basically the idea we are happy to also promote and support with the Global Shield Against Climate Risks, right? The initiative pioneered or initiated by the V20 group of finance ministers together with the G7, which Germany is still presiding until end of December, where the basic idea also is to bring all hands on deck, right? Making the support structure more coherent, more systematic and more sustained, right? And partnerships like these within the Tripartite can be an important element in that work. So, and last point, I think it's also a good example that despite all also, difficult discussions colleagues are facing here in the negotiating rooms, and for good reason they are facing these difficult discussions, because these are difficult questions, but there is not only potential, but there is a real, deep and trusted and successful collaboration between different partners in that sphere. So thanks a lot to all of you. It's really a pleasure to witness that progress, and as I said, the German government is more than pleased to be able to support that work.
Thank you, Martin, very much for those words and sentiments, and particularly noting on the hard work, which actually is still ahead of us here, and what that's going to lead to. I mean, we are all waiting to see. I think we've all noticed, we've seen the report in terms of the imbalance in financing when it comes to climate finance, and how very little of it still is going to adaptation and resilience. So the work of BMZ in this space is. I don't know, that was a deliberate cut just before I said the words quite substantial. Not my edit, that's what I'm going to say. So this now gives me great pleasure to bring together our two project partners. Plain sailing for 2 years through this project with never a bad word ever said by anybody. At least that's what I'm saying right now, legally. With apologies for multiple microphone failures, I'm now going to hand over to one of our key partners and friends, Karina from AXA.
Thanks, everyone. The same thing. I don't know what to add exactly that will add value to what's already been said, but just to say that a big thank you, first of all, to the Lagos State, because without them, we wouldn't be here. It's all demand-driven. It's because Lagos has said, we want to work with you on this project, that we're all here today. And then obviously everyone else who has facilitated the work. So we want to just thank all the different partners for giving us the opportunity to really leverage the expertise and the knowledge on the modeling and the financial firepower from the industry to really make a difference, because I don't think we get that many opportunities to make impact like we do through these kind of initiatives. So thank you very much.
So it gets more difficult, right, when the microphone gets passed out. But maybe we haven't said a lot about the project itself, actually, up to now. So John mentioned that collectively we're projecting to support 85 million people in the current shape and form of the Tripartite project. The Lagos project is actually one of the biggest contributors to that. We estimate that once implemented, and again, so that's one of the ifs, right? So we need to successfully now work on the project, and then it still needs to be implemented, and the financial instruments being put in place will benefit up to 8.5 million individuals in Lagos State, so which is quite significant. So one of our bigger projects, and it is really a partnership between different companies who all co-invest, by the way. So this is a co-investment from the public and the private sector, including, for instance, a satellite image provider, a company called ISI, which will be instrumental for building the instrument and building the trigger to make payouts then to Lagos State to support then people who have suffered from the disaster, but also potentially to use the payouts to reconstruct critical infrastructure. So it has a multi-purpose. Still, the details still need to be worked out, but that's the grand plan that's behind all of this. And similar to AXA Climate, Swiss Re is also very proud that we can support that project jointly with ARC, with Leslie, who's sitting there. And with that, I'm probably close and suggest we move forward to committing in blood to actually executing on this fantastic project.
I will say that we should, but I just want to say one final thing. So that 80 million, if implemented, is 20% of the entire 500 million commitments that the public and private community made at the UN Secretary General's Climate Summit in 2019. In one project. I mean, it's actually many projects, but in one overall initiative. So, I mean, kudos to all of us here. But now, of course, we have to actually do all of that work beyond here, Nigeria and everywhere else. So thank you very much for everyone and their work on this. So I think now what we're going to do is two things. We're going to have a little signing ceremony, if those people that can take photographs for the project signatories. And I think what we're going to do then is do a photo. But in that photo, I think we should get everybody in. Yeah? So we will sign, we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll just crowd everyone up here and take one big photo. And there'll be nobody to take the photo, but somebody from the other side who needs to be a convert to the insurance and risk finance community. We will bring them in, and they will be part of our friend and the first to sign.
Guess where?
Oh, you have to guess. We have an official silver pen, which I have to give back to a colleague, or I'm in really big trouble. Only slightly joking about that. Thank you very much, Commissioner. Thank you. Oh. More fake signing photo, please. This does remind me of certain things. Just certain. Thank you, Commissioner. Karina, may I ask you to take the official chair and pen? Thank you very much. And there we go. And then we have Mr. Ivo Menzinger of Swiss Re. Excellent. Thank you very much. And now I hand over
to Jan Kellett from the UNDP. So
If that one goes on social media, there'll be trouble. Maybe Echo Space. To everyone, come around here.
Who wants us first to take?
Okay. We are going to do two sets of photos then. We're going to have the signatories as well as BMZ as the great supporter here at the front with a photo, and then we're going to have everybody else. Yes, I think that's a very nice idea. Well, nice, Martin. Let's us have that from the front there.
Martin. Evo. Sam.
Now I think we need everybody. Daniel, did you find someone? Not yet, but I'll get someone. Marcus. I have no photos there. As one of our new countries, lady who I don't know.
I'm with AXA, sorry.
Not with AXA. Well,
I think I'm
absolutely important. Now send this to people saying you're in the project. Thank you, Maria. Argentina, one of our project countries. I'm just making more connections. This is the one that really.